What's up, guys? Popo here, and I want to show you guys something that's really useful on the MPC. Whenever you're sampling a sound and you want to use it for later on down the road, let's say you're working on a song 3 or 4 months down the road, and you're like, man, I want those chops that I had. And it is something that I overlooked because I never really saved my sounds. Now I'm getting into sampling my own sounds, and saving them is the most beautiful part, to be able to manipulate them later. So I want to go over that in the video, and then I also want to go over um, how to lay down a user template. Okay, so that whenever you get to your project, especially when you're routing to external gear, you can start on a blank canvas, but be ready so you don't have to tell MIDI A to go here, MIDI B there, C there. So we're gonna go right in here, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So let's check it out. Guys, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, leave a thumbs up. I just like to have a good time on here, okay? And just trying to share things as I learn. So honestly, the MPC is one of the best boxes that I've had, and I've had a lot of different devices. And it lets me do what I want to do, and that's all I can say about it is, yeah, the MPC X, definitely because of the Q links and everything. We'll go over all that. Check this out. All right, so let's say we're on a blank project, right? And we're working on some chops. And the reason I want to do this is because I've been asked about this a few times, and I think it's just overlooked. Especially, like I said earlier, I'm just now getting into sampling my sounds, and it's important to be able to save your work for later use, because you never know when you're going to want to use it. So basically, what we're going to do, we're going to hit sampler. I'm going in through my MPC. I'll explain how I'm going into my MPC and everything later. But I'm going to hit in, and I'm going to arm it and auto chop it while I'm playing. Let's say this is the song that we're chopping up and we really, really like it, and we're just going to keep it like that. Let me hit stop, create. I'm not hitting anything else. That's it. I just hit create. So now I go down here, and I got my new sample. Let's say this is a song that we're with, and we're just gonna. All right. So if your chops are not cutting each other off, you have to hit program edit, and right now you have them on poly, so it's going. Let's say this is and we really like it, and we're just. They're overlapping each other, so if you want them to cut off, you want them on mono. All right, so now we got that. We hit this edit samples, and let's say we got this whole new sample. All right, the whole new sample. Let's trim it and everything. Let's say that we got that. We'll hit process, discard, do it. So now we got our sample. Let's chop it up just a little bit by regions, 16. Let's just make it 16 regions. All right, let's say you like these chops. What you need to do now is hold down the shift button and convert. New drum program using slices. Okay, do it. So now what we have here, new sample. Let's say this is the song that we're chopping and we really like it, and we're just gonna put it like that. Let me hit. All right, so now we got our sample on there. So what we're gonna do now, because let's say the phone rang and you gotta go and you want to save this, but you or you're working on a song later on down the road and you just want to use and that's all you want to use. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna hit this pencil and go over here to save current program. It's gonna save the current sample and the program. So we're gonna hit here. Now, what you want to do is save to an external drive. I have a micro SD card here in the front, or I have my secondary internal drive. So I'm going to name this new sample channel 1. I'm going to save it to my secondary drive, which is installed in my MPC, or you can save it to a USB drive. It doesn't matter. Just try to avoid saving it to your internal. And we're going to hit save. It's going to do all that. I'm going to hit this, new, don't save, and as soon as it loads back up, we're going to pull that sample back up. Like if say if it's tomorrow and we are on a brand new project and we're like, oh man, that we want that back inside the song. So all we do is hit browse, go to your places, your Oppo drive. We know it's new sample. HIJKL, new sample one. You got the wave. Let's say this is the, or the whole project. So you open up the drum kit the same way you would if it was a drum kit here. You know what I'm saying? It just saves it like that. So now you can go here and let's say this is a song that we're and we like and it's ridiculous. But I think it's really, really important to be able to know how to do that, because it's how you save your work. And whenever you're messing with external audio, say you want that sampled into your MPC and you want to save that for later on, or you're auto sampling something, how do you pull that project up later? Well, that's how you do it. Guys, I think that's really, really important. That's the first thing that I wanted to show you in this video, okay? The second thing, if you didn't catch that, all we did was we took a sample, go in, well, I'll do it real quick one more time, arm it, we're gonna chop it, we got our sample, stop, create, hit main, we got our new sample, arm it, we're gonna chop it, we got our sample, right? Hit a sample, we're gonna do, we like that, we're not even gonna edit that, we're just gonna save the current program, name it sample channel 1, OP, do it. Secondary drive, so you know where it's at, I'm gonna save it. Now if I want to pull that up, same thing. And it's just very, very important. That's all, guys. Next thing that we're going to go over, I'm going to pull the sample up and then I'm going to show you guys how to make a template, because it's insane that you really have to understand how to make a template on here. Just because if you're sitting in here and you're trying to get down and make your music, you don't want to spend 10 minutes doing this every single time. It'll just kill your workflow. So what we're going to do, empty project, hit browse, places, my Oppo drive, and we got that new sample that we
I'm
had.
having a real hard.
And let's save this. New sample, OP, there it is. Arm it, we're going to chop it. There's my sample, there's my program. All right, arm it, we're going to chop it. We're going to chop it, we're going to put, we're going to put, we're going to put, we're going to put. Beautiful. So that's just a quick way how to do your samples, all right? Next, what is super, super important, guys, maybe go burn one or something, hit pause, because this is going to be important. You need to learn how to do this. So let me rearrange this camera here real quick and we'll get started. All right, so check this out. What we're going to do, I'm going to hit my folder, I'm going to hit new, don't save. We're going to work on our template. And the reason I think this is so important is because you spend about 20 minutes trying to do this, and it's insane to your workflow. It can really kill your workflow when you're limited on time. So for right here, what I did, I got MIDI out A going into this model sculpt. Best thing to do, and you guys, I know this is time consuming, but you really want to label your stuff. Sculpt. I know that track 1 is sculpt. Track 2 on MIDI program 2 on B. What do we got? There's nobody on B. I think it's the bearing or neutron. Let it warm up. Cool. So we got that. So we'll name track 2 the D, or Neutron. And the reason why this is important is because whenever you hit track mute, now you know what you're muting out, your hardware, your sculpt, your neutron. This way you know if it's a kick drum or not. Right now you always see me do it in like track 1, track 2, where everything's one big old freaking mess. But if you're really wanting to get into it, holy moly, now I know that I'm muting these out. And when you do these for every single track, you're not worried about sequence. We're not worried about the sequence at all. This is going to be MIDI 3, MIDI port C. That's for my black sledge. And we're going to name that sledge or black. Do it. And number 4. And I'm doing this right now so that when you see it in future videos, you know how I did it. For track 4 is my Korg. Alright, go here. Track 5, CV1. CV1 and 2. This is a little giddy because I'm going to be hooking these up to different modules up here, and I'll have to know where they're routed. But as long as I know that this is going to life forms or wherever I route them, that's where I'm going to go later. So I have 4 CVs. That gives me 8 tracks. Now, whenever I go in here, my 9th track's going to be default plugin. I just like these sounds. And it's even got one of my chops in there that I saved. And now if I want to load up a drum program and hit 16 pads, that's almost 30 some tracks. So that's a lot of stuff going on, guys. So I'm just saying, by being organized like that, really it helps out a whole lot, is all I'm saying. So that whenever you hit play and you're track muting out stuff, you know exactly what you're muting out, when you're muting it out. And afterwards, whenever you're ready to save this, check this out. This is what we're getting. This is what we're getting at here. All right, so after you got all your stuff laid out, let's say that's all you did for that one day. That's a lot of work. All right. You hit the folder. You're gonna hit save as your Oppo drive or your internal drive or your memory card or whatever it is that you want to save to, and you name it. We're gonna name this temp. Do it. Save as template. That button right there. And we hit save, right? And the beautiful thing about this is now that whenever I come down here tomorrow, let's go with a new project, or I come down here the next day or whenever I can just fire this thing up like this. Let's hit new because I want to show you guys that it's brand new. And down here it'll say empty project or user template. And you hit user template. And there you go. You're all ready to go on your main thing. What I would recommend doing at this point, check it out. What I would recommend doing at this point is saving this again. Keep this as your dry. You know what I'm saying? Keep this as your dry. Save it again, save as in the same place, and just add a 1 next to the name. This way you have this template to always go back to start your project, and you can just, you know what I'm saying, you want to duplicate it. This way you always have the master template, then you can work off your other one. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. All we're going to do is save as Oppo drive. We're going to name it temp2. temp 2, do it, blah blah blah, save as template. So now that if I ever want to work on that template, I can overwrite it and it doesn't affect the original. And I'll show you how to find it. You got temp 2 right there, but what happened to temp 1? Go to empty project, go to browse, places, your Oppo drive. You can search here, just type in temp 1. We'll just type in temp. There's there they are right there. User temp. These are all my temps. Right on. I just think it's really, really cool to be able to do that, and it just speeds up the workflow. Again, whenever I go here, go new, I don't have to start on a blank. I can start on a blank project, but I don't necessarily have to start on a blank canvas. So now I can just get to work. I got everything right there. If it decides to work. This thing timed out. There it is. And the beautiful thing is, if I want to switch sounds on here, you go to Program Change. You can do pad perform, all the stuff that you can do with that I can't normally do. I can't play like that. So I think it's really, really cool, and it's important. And the way that I have that hooked up is going audio out of each device into this mixer, and out of my mixer going into my MPC. So you can see on my sampler, my voice is coming in when I hit this key. It does work. All of these do work. The Model D, everything goes in. Even my TV goes in here. So getting a real nice signal, and yeah, I think that's enough for today. I just wanted to share, one, how to take your drum chops and be able to save them for later use, or to be able to just spit random sounds in it. Or say you're just collecting sounds all day long and you just want to put them in your MPC. This is how you do it, and that's how you recall them. That's how you pull them back up for later on in use or later on editing. You fill it up with sounds and you sit there, and you don't need anything else but this MPC and a microphone, honestly. And you can do just about anything you want. But I use my gear as external plugins. I like to use my Behringer Neutron instead of Tube Synth. I mean, I just don't have luck with computers. I'm barely able to edit the video. You know what I'm saying? So much love and mad respect to all of you guys. I watch all your guys' videos, man. I love all the work that's being put in. And we need more creators out there. So that's why I take the time to show you how to do this, way you don't get discouraged whenever you hit that track mute and you're like, man, what track was what? And it's like, even with your kicks and your snares, everything has to be labeled nice. Don't worry about the sequence or the MIDI. Just make sure when you're on a MIDI and you go to a different track, it corresponds. Track 2, MIDI 2. Track 3, MIDI 3. Track 4. So it's really, really cool. And like I said, you can change the sounds from right here, and you don't have to mess with anything. And as far as hooking up the CV gates, I'll get into that here in the back. So I got a lot of stuff to hook up, but basically this, I can play them as plugins as an audio track, and then I just take in like the 16 bar beat, honestly, and I'll resample it. I haven't put it to test yet, but I did sample that choir, and it came out really, really cool. So I'm super excited to finally have everything working, and thank you guys for being patient, and thank you for all the guidance. So I'm gonna have all this audio going into here, and then I'll start chopping stuff up, and we'll put this to work now that we know exactly how everything works on it. Don't feel discouraged. It took about 2 years. of everyday use to be able to get to where I'm at. So if you guys have any questions like that, just leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to get back to you, okay? I'm Popo, and I will see you on the next video.